coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome everyone to what seems it's going to be a very cloudy yet warmish morning out here in the African bush. This is Safari Live.
Ready. Standing by.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live. A lovely morning, like we mentioned earlier. It seems like the sun might just shine through some of the clouds as the morning starts getting along, but you can see in front of us we've got a very beautiful cloud cover all around, which is good for us because it's making everything slightly warmer. So we are not freezing as we normally do. My name is Ali, and on camera with me today is Sam, and we are very happy to take you along on this bumble in the Greater Kruger National Park. Now, this is a live and interactive show, so if you've got any questions or comments, please feel free to send them through using the hashtag Safari Live via Twitter. We had lots of lions calling this morning, and not obviously always when we have our coffee, so we wonder where they have gone. I know Tayla's checking the last spot where they were last seen last night by one of the other guys, because it seems like they came back from Buffelshoek, went close to the lodge, and then carried on. So we roughly want to check maybe the southern portion, because it sounded like they were calling from that area. So let's carry on, see if perhaps we managed to find anything. So far we haven't had any luck with any tracks, but it could have been that they just walked along some of the other roads further north and west from where we are. So let's not lose hope just yet. Now, it sounded like it was also females and males that were calling, which gives us somewhat hope, because we know that while the Nkahumas have been quite hungry, they haven't been doing any vocalizing, probably because they don't want to give their location away. So I think they've just been more preoccupied with looking for food than claiming and patrolling their territory. So if it was indeed them that was calling earlier on, then that is a good sign that perhaps they had something to eat sometime last night. I'm going to carry on searching around this area, but while I do that, let's go over to Tayla, who wants to say good morning.
Hello everybody, welcome again. My name is Tayla, and on camera with me today is Gert, and we are hoping to find some lions, as Ali has told you, because they were indeed calling throughout the night with the combination of a couple of whoops from the hyenas. So we'll be checking for not only just the lions, we'll also check that hyena den. Now we're on Mvula Road at the moment, seeing if there's any tracks, but nothing so far. So we're going to keep searching. We're going to go back onto the cut line and then down Gallagher shortcut all the way through, and that's where we'll check the den again, where we think the hyenas are active. But I just want to concentrate and make sure that I scan. Oh, okay, copy, wonderful, thanks Lex. I'm just on Mvula Road approaching the cut line. I'll come back around. And you confirm, can I just come on the fire break and then I'll get your visual? Wonderful. Right, how great is this? Now, before I even tell you, remember this is a live and interactive safari, so it would be great for you to send through your questions. Maybe you've got some requests for the day, and you can do that by hashtagging Safari Live on Twitter. Now, we've got a surprise for you. If you were watching the pre-show, it said to you that myself and Lex and Ali were doing a combined search for the lions, and it seems as though the lions are not the first animal that we're going to see. It's going to be a leopard, because Mvula is still where we left him last night. Can you believe that? He hasn't moved at all. So I think we're going to go on the fire break, and Alice, you can tell Ali that the lions are all hers this morning. If she can find them, she can have them. I hope Ali does find them. So I'm sure she heard that last update from Lex. He said that they were going west into the block sort of towards Gallagher shortcut, where we initially found Mvula yesterday. Now that's a tricky block in there, as you saw, and it's not the easiest place to off-road, so hopefully if those lions have gone in there, that will be an easy route to figure out where they've gone. Or maybe they could have just crossed over via Tayla access already and continued their adventure west. Now there's lots of hyena tracks, so we won't go check the den now. We'll go a little bit later. Let's go and see a leopard. I'm sure you're all very excited, or hopefully just as excited as I am, to find a leopard again. And I quite enjoyed spending the entire day with Mvula. It was really, really pleasant, and I wouldn't mind doing exactly the same thing, especially if he hasn't made a kill, because he was looking very hungry. But we won't speculate too much. We should get into that sighting fairly shortly. It's just up ahead where we left him last night, and then we'll be able to see what's actually happened, if anything has developed, or perhaps he's still laying amongst the long grass. But it's nice. It's not cold like yesterday. I didn't have to put my big jacket on. I can see some lights just up ahead, so they're just here. Now, I love that you're always also concerned about me and my sleeping habits. Thank you very much. And Karen, you're wondering if I got any sleep. Better. My sleep pattern, not my sleep pattern, what am I trying to say? I did sleep much better than I slept the night before. I always wake up though, but I got a few more hours than 3 hours sleep, so that's quite wonderful. Here he is. He's moved just to the other side of the tree. Can you believe that? He was obviously quite cozy here last night. Hello, boy. That's so funny. Here he is. Look at that. He has moved a whole of 2 meters. So he's basically maybe 6 foot almost. That's it. He's literally just shifted to the other side of this fallen log. That's amazing. And he still looks like he's in a bit of a slumber. He hasn't opened his eyes. He's barely twitching his ears. He's had a great sleep. So he'll be well rested. Now, the reason why maybe he didn't go hunting last night is Mvula, being the sneaky cat that he is, he often does move around during the day quite a bit. So he could have started just after safaris finished yesterday and had been missioning around for most of the day, and then decided, no, it's time to take a sleep. I did not expect to find him here this morning. That was honestly the last thing that I thought we were going to get. It's not a bad spot though. There's a couple of I saw a few impala a little bit further back, and some dacre in the grass, well, not some dacre, a dacre in the grass. So hopefully if he does wake up, you'll have a good opportunity again to try and catch something, because the wind is just starting to pick up. Hopefully the wind will blow the clouds away though, because we would love rain, but we also don't have our rain covers on, and if it does start to pour down, it means we'd have to go home, and we wouldn't be able to sit with this leopard because we'd have to go put the roofs on. So let's hope that that doesn't happen. And it sounds like all the guides are just starting to wake up now and get on with their adventures for this morning. The turtle doves are also singing their morning song. And that seems to be it for now. Now, Bobby, you're slightly concerned about Mvula. You're wondering if he's sick. No, not at all. Not after what we saw him doing yesterday. He looked in perfect condition, besides looking like he needs a meal, which most of the time the cats actually look like that. Slightly on the thin side, but that's normal. And he was moving quite quickly. He wasn't limping. He didn't seem to have any obvious injuries. So no, I don't think he's sick at all. I think he's just resting. Remember, after these cats do go out on a mission, I'm actually going to put my spotlight down. We don't need it anymore. And they do need some time to recover and build up their energy again. So they will. They'll sleep for hours and hours. Remember, a lion can sleep for up to 22 hours in one go, whereas I suppose a leopard is just slightly less than that. But again, definitely sleep a lot longer than what I can, and nothing seems to bother him. I mean, he literally hasn't moved at all. But you'll be okay. He'll be fine. He'll probably wake up shortly. Let's see, or maybe he's going to sleep and do the same thing as what he did probably yesterday, wait for the safari to finish. What's your plan, Mvula? And he has definitely brought the rain with him. Can I please have that again, Alice? Sorry, I didn't hear what your last word is. I'm just going to fiddle with the volumes here. Oh, there we go. Liz, you said he looks so tense. I think he's maybe a little bit cold. He looks like he's curled himself up quite a bit. I don't think I think he's okay. I think he's fairly relaxed. He didn't really react to us at all when we arrived in the sighting, so I'm not worried with him. He's just being a leopard. You know what it's like? He probably feels like I felt this morning, sort of going, oh, do I really have to get out of bed? It's just so cozy here. But in his defense, he's going to have to get up if he wants to find something to eat. He couldn't be lazy. He doesn't have chefs that cook for him all the time. So if he wants to eat and stop those hunger pains, which I'm sure he's probably experiencing, he'll have to muster up a bit of energy and go and search for something. But he's sitting so still. Now, as we sit here, and he is very still. He's barely moving. Occasionally his ears are twitching. And Michael, you have a question about arthritis, and you're wondering if the big cats get arthritis just as house cats do. Most certainly. I'm sure that if anything, the big cats will get arthritis. I have seen it in a lioness from the Southern Pride. We used to see her every single morning. We would find the Southern Pride. She looked like she would limp slightly in one of her, I think it was her left front leg, if I'm not mistaken. I was trying to think of the sightings as she walked past, and it was consistent every single morning, or when we'd see them waking up and then going on the move. She seemed to be stiff in her one leg, so I wonder if that wasn't a bit of arthritis, because she'd then move around, and you know, within half an hour to an hour she was fine again, and she was walking like there was absolutely nothing wrong with her. So I'm sure that they do. You don't seem to see it out here. I haven't seen it too often. Nothing that can confirm it, but also we don't spend a lot of always too much time with these cats. Sometimes we go weeks and weeks without seeing them, but they are susceptible to things like this. Mvula, please can you wake up? You know what, we were so spoiled yesterday, I have to tell you, that when you sit and watch a sleeping cat, it's a bit sad. Now, Lady Starfire, you're wondering why would he just stay in this area for so long? It's just because it was the place that he decided to rest. Maybe, you know, if Tingana comes back and he comes barging through this area, because he normally does, he can quickly run into Buffelshoek and move out of Tingana's territory too. That might be a reason. He's hanging on the boundary, and he's just tired. Like I said, I think he was probably walking for most of the day yesterday. He could have come from Simbambili side, somewhere around there, or even Arathusa, and come marching through, and he walked quite a far distance. He was on a mission. So I think he's just tired. I think he's just recuperating. And that's all. And this is a good spot. Lots of trees he can run up. If lions come past, you know, there's definitely plenty of escape routes. Not that a male leopard of his age is really thinking about those things. He's well experienced. Kerry, you said he must be feeling pretty secure because he's not in the thickets anymore. I concur. I definitely think so. And he's sitting on, I think there's a termite mound sort of underneath the ground around there. You can see that the sand is slightly raised. So I wonder if it's maybe not giving off a bit of warmth. That might be another reason why he's perhaps sitting in that particular spot. You can't see it there, but on the other side, hidden behind those logs, when we were driving around there last night, I could see that it looked like there was a bit of a mound starting to develop. And remember, termite mounds and things don't just start on the top, they start developing underneath the ground, and eventually they push through. And we've watched squirrels do it quite often, where they'll sit on tops of the open chimney that you'll find in the mounds. And if any of you have ever had the opportunity, or you've watched a couple of our bushwalks, and we'll often demonstrate how warm that air is that is coming out of those chimneys. And I'm pretty sure the squirrels use that as a bum warmer too on those frosty cold mornings. Baboons like to sit on them too. There's definitely a lot of heat that is emitted from it. So if I was an animal, I'd go and sleep around one of those, especially on a cold night. And it wasn't particularly pleasant last night. The wind died down, it picked up again, the clouds came over. I mean, it's been spitting for most of the morning, so I'm sure it was doing the same thing last night. It's just now that the clouds are finally starting to rise higher up in the air, and the wind is blowing them away, which is good, because I don't know if I'm keen for this miserable weather. I prefer the blue skies in winter. We can have the clouds all through summer during our rainy season. But isn't it beautiful though? You just see all the last bits of orange leaves that are left on a lot of these bush willows. Even the silver cluster leaves now are starting to drop, and the golden colours of the grass. It's quite dramatic though, with that dark blue sky, and then of course spotted cat down below. It doesn't get much prettier than this. This is the greatest time of the year. I always say it, it's my favourite time of the year, the yellow season. Isn't this lovely? Now, John, are you wondering how do the leopards keep themselves cool in keep themselves warm in the cooler weather, sorry. Well, they've got a coat, they've got lots of hair for that, so that typically keeps them nice and warm. They'll curl themselves up in a ball. They'll find an area that's sheltered if it is windy, because it's only the wind that's quite chilly. And then again, I'm pretty sure that they will utilize things like termite mounds too, because we often find leopards up on termite mounds, and I don't think that they're necessarily just using them as a vantage point. I think that sand is holding quite a bit of heat from the day, and it's the same reason why we see snakes coming out onto the road in the cooler months. So here in winter, remember, our animals don't really go into a permanent hibernation. They sort of estivate, and they'll move around, and it's, like I said, it's not uncommon to see a snake on the road, and again, just absorbing that last heat of the day that is down on the ground and in the sand. But he doesn't seem to be doing too much. We'll stick with him for a little bit and see what he gets up to. Otherwise, I would like to still continue and try and find the lions. I'm going to listen out to the radio and make sure and see if there are any guides that are wanting to come here, that they do have an opportunity to come and have a look. But right now, he hasn't really shown us any signs that he is going to be waking up. He hasn't yawned, he hasn't really stretched out, or shown any of those telltale signs of when he'll get up and moving. He doesn't look like he's in a hurry. Remember, he's in retirement now. He's got no sort of schedule. He doesn't have to be anywhere, no appointments to attend. He just does whatever he wants when he wants. He doesn't have those obligations like Tingana has, where he has to constantly keep patrolling his territories, because if he doesn't pitch up for a few days in a certain sector of his territory, then he runs the risk of having another male leopard sneak into that spot. He doesn't really do that anymore. I'm sure Mvula marks as he goes along every now and then, but he's quite subtle about it. Now, John, you're wondering if I think that leopards miss having relationships. No, they don't know any different. They obviously have a bond with their mother, but as soon as they reach the point where a mom comes into estrus again, and she perhaps has new litter of cubs, they normally get chased away, even sometimes just before that. And some leopards don't tolerate their cubs for a very long time, and can be chased off at just over a year. It's not an uncommon thing to see. So no, I don't think so. I think if anything, the animals that maybe miss having relationships are perhaps elephants, because they spend so much, especially we're just talking about the males here, they've spent such a large part of their life growing up in a family environment, and because of their intelligence level, I think that they're always very stressed when they are just leaving the herds or being forced out of the herds. They don't leave on their own. And you can see that. You can see it's a very stressful process. So I think they definitely do. But the cats, and particularly the leopards, no, I don't think so at all. But we'll sit here for a bit. We'll see if he decides to perhaps turn around and look at us. Maybe he gives us a yawn and shows us some signs that he's going to get up. Ali, however, is taking a break from tracking lions, and she's staring up at the sky.
And how could we not? This is a very incredible sunrise we have this morning, with the clouds being blown away by the wind and the sun just rising in between them. It's very dynamic, as it seems like the clouds don't really want to let the sun shine through. So it was funny, because when we first saw it, the sun wasn't even up yet. It was just that beautiful red color that was illuminating all the clouds. But I think the Lord and Commander of all life on earth, the brightest star on the sky, has decided that Now it's time. I wonder if the clouds are going to cover it again. It seems like slowly but surely the sky is starting to clear up. We can see some blue patches on top of this very dark patch that we've got here. It almost seems like fire, doesn't it? Like fire going away from the sun. I think this is pretty cool. Look at that. And just like that, the sun has been warded off by an army of clouds. Incredible. I think that was pretty amazing, even if it lasted for a few seconds. Definitely worth stopping and having a look. Now, it seems like our Sammy James, you're saying, oh my beauty at its finest. Yes, it is wonderful. It seems like our lions are playing hide and seek with us this morning. Some of the tracks were reported to be seen going south and one of the southern roads of the property. So we're just doing a big loop around because we had some impalas alarming and we thought that perhaps they were looking at the lions. However, we haven't even found one track yet. So I think... Was that a lion? So every now and again they've been calling. But they haven't been roaring, it's been more of a contact call. So I think maybe let's go down to Garimane and go around. I think that's a good idea. If we go around and just make sure that they haven't crossed south, which is probably one of the most horrible things to say out here on safari. They have crossed north or they've crossed south, because then it means that they've gone on somewhere else where we can follow them. But we're going to carry on trying. Like I said, so far no tracks around here. And we did hear those impala earlier on, so we kind of had hope that they would be somewhere around here. But let's see. I think maybe for good measure we are also going to try and check around Twindoms just to make sure that we don't lose anything. But seems like Mvula knows that Tingana is nowhere to be found, so he's enjoying Djuma, which I'm sure everyone's quite happy. As I believe Mvula used to be the dominant male of these lands. Were you happy to see him yesterday? Because you said, Seb, that you had been wanting to see him for a while now.
Exactly, yeah. I've seen him since I restarted, so...
Okay, so you managed to meet up with an old friend.
Exactly.
I was also super excited when I think the very first drive that I did, Mvula was there, and I was like, yes! So exciting. Yeah, he's gotten older. But I wouldn't write him off just yet. I think he's still got a lot of fight left in him, and I mean, he knows. He's been around. He knows this area. He knows this land. He knows where to go for food, for shelter. Oh, ground hornbills! Yes! Hello, guys. Or guy. Just you. I got excited. Ah, yes. Okay, now I can get excited. There's more than one. Likely these are the same ones that we heard singing yesterday during the afternoon drive. And it was quite interesting because we saw them on top of the tree, but this is where we see them more often than not, on the ground, looking for food. Now, this one that we're looking at, this is a juvenile, so this is not a fully adult yet. His colors are still not bright enough, and it's just trailing around the rest of the family. Likely it's going to stick until its parents have the next chick, and it's going to assist with the raising and just practice for the time that they've got to do it when he finds itself a mate. So we've got 3 of them. Got another beautiful one. I'm going to... Seb, let me just... Okay, no, you've got them there. And you see, obviously, very long beak. They cannot really look sideways. So they've got to tilt their head like that to be able to see what's on the ground. Alright, let me just try going slightly forward. See if perhaps there's a bit more of a clearing over here that we can have a look at. Bumbo, you say hopefully they'll start calling. I agree. Yesterday, that private concert that we had was incredible. I think it's been one of my best, if not my best, ground hornbill ever sighting. Ah, there they are. They're calling. Maybe not as loud as yesterday, but definitely still there. Now I think it's the same group as yesterday because we have 3 that we've been seeing roaming around this area, but there's a 4th one that we hear calling from the right hand side, but I can't see him. I can just hear his call. I'm sure he's just calling the rest of the group just to make sure that they are somewhere around this area. Now there's a sneaky one going behind. Interesting. So they're going to spend likely the next few hours moving around this area looking for any food that they can find. So perhaps any seeds, any pods, little insects, perhaps little lizards. They will also eat eggs. Tortoises are very well known for eating tortoises. Perhaps a snake if they come across it. It's like we said, it is unusually warm today, and thanks to the cloud cover, so that allows all of the animals to start moving a little bit earlier, unlike the monkeys we saw yesterday. We're gonna carry on with our lion search, see if we find any tracks, but while we do that, let's go to Tayla and Mvula.
We're still sitting here trying to be as patient as we can be now. Just when we left here, I was having a chat to Lex. I thought we were actually going to have to leave, but it seems as though Tundi has been found this morning, so that's alleviated some pressure off of Mvula. Obviously when there's leopard sightings, lots of people want to come and have a look at them, so the other guides are heading down that side. So she's come and she's just crossed into Torchwood. She might be coming back this side. She's still going north apparently, so that's quite exciting. And we were chatting, and Lex seems to think that maybe there's some warthogs in the burrow on the other side. Now, when we were sitting here last night, he was facing completely the other direction, but he does keep tucking his feet underneath his bum. And, well, he's an old man, like I said, he hasn't got any time. It doesn't have anywhere to be, sorry, so he would put a lot of effort in perhaps sitting like this, waiting for something to appear out of a burrow. If it means he has to play the sit and patience game, well, I think cats know the patience game a lot better than what we do. So maybe there is something in there, but it's a bit hard to say, so we'll just hang around for the moment. I mean, it's exactly the same spot that he was, but he looks like he nods off every now and then. He sort of does that head roll where your head drops slightly and he closes his eyes again. Now, Sarah, you're wondering if leopards sleep in the trees less when it's colder. No, not necessarily. You know, sometimes certain leopards love to spend their times in the trees. For instance, Karula is one of them, Kuchava, and as well as in Kanyeni, seem to spend a lot of times in the trees. I think I've had more sightings of them up in trees than I have down on the ground. Whereas other cats, well, they just go about the day and spend a bit of time on the floor. So they don't have to go up there. I find when the flies are around, you often see the cats up in the trees. You try and get away from those insects buzzing down on the ground. But other than that, no, I don't think it necessarily affects them. If anything, a spot up on the top of the tree might be a good point, because that would be the first bit that gets the sun, especially on a cold, frosty morning. We see it with the squirrels, we see it with the monkeys, the birds, how they all sit right on tops of the trees. So it can't be a bad spot to try and warm yourself up. You see, he just shuffles every now and then. It doesn't look like he's necessarily getting ready to pounce. He's just he keeps doing that the whole time, and he was doing this actually last night just before we left. So I think he just gets comfortable every now and then. But we'll hang around. You never know. Maybe a family of warthogs decides to come out once it's warmed up a bit. That would be nice. And he's obviously got a bit of cover from where he is, using a log. Very clever, lying on the other side of it. But there could be anything around here. You can see he doesn't look attentively. No, he's just staring off to the side. You can see he closes his eyes again. So I think he's also having a slight siesta. You see that? How he just sort of goes, I'm a bit cold. A couple of babblers, and I can hear some drongos now moving in just south of us, coming this way. They're making a big noise. Is that my stomach or yours, Gert?
Mine.
Is it your... No, we were laughing now, sorry, because I could hear strange noises, and I first thought maybe it was the young Angama subadult's making noises, but it isn't. It's Gert's stomach. He's obviously hungry. Did you not bring a snack with you?
I forgot.
Oh no, forgot. You'll have to share on Mvula's if he catches anything. So, Krista, you're wondering if Mvula will still be mating? I think if there's a female in estrus that's around him, most certainly. However, I don't know if he is still in the process of actively searching out for females. There don't seem to be too many known female leopards that move around in Buchelshoek. I know that every now and then there's one that's spotted that we haven't seemed to really be able to identify just yet. So, in the way he moves around, nah, I don't think so. I think he just takes every day as it comes. But he won't say no, of course. He's not too old to not be mating. But if he wants to go and find a leopard that is in estrus, he's going to have to start encroaching more and more onto Tingana's territory, because remember, he patrols around here and he moves like you have no idea. It'll be interesting to see if Tingana's still on Chitwa this morning, if he's still on a kill down that way, or if perhaps he's already finished his warthog kill and has moved off and continued with a territorial patrol. The sun is just starting to now poke through the clouds, so you can see the light changing ever so slightly, and I think that will start warming him up quite nicely. But it's not freezing, it's just a little bit nippy. Now it's actually, I feel a little bit colder than I did before, and we're not even moving. So the temperature definitely has dropped, but that's also normal. Just as the sun rises, it's always the first hour is quite chilly. No, I mean, if there was a warthog or something in there, he could also try and dig it out. And we've seen, well, there's plenty of footage of leopards digging warthogs out of burrows. Lions do exactly the same thing. But if it's a big family and there's a big boar in there, I think in his age he'll have to be quite careful, because he doesn't want to risk getting an injury from another animal, because he is older. So his chances of bouncing back are probably a lot less than when he was in his youth. So he'll be quite careful. And you notice that as cats get older and older, they sort of make a lot more, they think about the decisions before they make them, whereas a young cat is quite impulsive. You see Shungilia and Hosanna, and as well as Tamba, they'll go chasing up a knobthorn, no problem, trying to catch a squirrel, not really thinking about the repercussions, about all the thorns and things that are on there. So wisdom comes with age, and you can clearly see it with the older cats, especially somebody like Mvula that's been around for quite some time. Now, something else that's interesting that Tristan told me, and then Ali reminded me last night, is that I often speak of a female called Little Bush. Now, she's also known as the outcrop female. So how crazy is that I spent quite a bit of time with Mvula's mom. I forgot that he was born down on Lion Sands, and that he moved, which is far south, very, very far south. It's just slightly north of the Sabi River, but those properties, Kirkman's, Lion Sands, Sabi, they all are just north of the Sabi River, and the Sabi River is basically on the boundary of all of those properties and runs through some of those properties. So he's moved a very, very far distance. So it just gives you an example of how male leopards do disperse and how far they can actually go. So that's quite interesting. And she's a lovely, and he must have been one of her first litters though. I don't know who else was his litter mate, but she's a lovely leopard. Feisty though, very, very feisty. One that you didn't like to meet on foot. Not that she ever did anything, but she'd give you a rev, she'd growl, and she'd just about spit in your face. And she would stop right at your feet, and then she would turn and walk away. So I also talk about a leopard, Kaigilia. So Mvula will be Kaigilia's half-brother. Who else is out of... Then, yeah, and then there's another little cub that's down there at the moment. It's almost about a year old now. So it's interesting, the dynamics. That Little Bush's bloodline is all the way up here in the north. I would never have thought that. I'm also just trying to listen to the radio to see what's happening. But you see there in that position, to me, he just looks like he's resting. His ears aren't pricked forward. He doesn't seem to be intently focused on anything. He's slightly shuffled to the side. He's not sitting on his hindquarters anymore. Now, a question that's actually asked quite often, and it's one that's quite fascinating, and it's from Michael, and the question is, how do big cats manage to sleep but stay alert to their surroundings? Well, a cat nap. Sleeping with one eye open, that is so true, and that's exactly what the cats do. Now, we see it with lions as well, though they seem to go into a heavier sleep. Obviously, they're the apex predator out here in the Sabi sand, so they don't really have too much to worry about. But even a leopard has to watch its back constantly, but all the cats do it. So they've got super sensitive hearing. So they're listening out. So as they're sleeping, they're still listening for branches breaking and that type of thing. And you'll see it. Often they'll be in a deep sleep, and the next minute they jump up and scan around. So they have to be aware. Any crack of the branch that they hear, they need to take note of it and make sure that there isn't something trying to sneak up on them. But it's pretty amazing. But he's very relaxed. It'd be nice if he went and he actually just sat on that log and just exposed himself just slightly up from the ground and in that long grass. So it's a much better view though than we'd had last night, because last night he was sitting just further to the right, and in that patch of grass it was almost impossible to see anything. So at least he's sort of slightly out of the thicket. I'm just so interested. I wish I could know exactly what his moves were going to be. That would help a lot. That's what I always say. Everyone says to me, if you could have a superpower, what would it be? Speaking to the animals and the plants. I think with what I do, it would be the greatest gift out here to be able to communicate with the plants and the various animals. Imagine how great my safaris would be then. We'd be with all the animals all the time. Quite fluffed up. He looks like he needs to give himself a bit of a groom. He doesn't have the smoothest coat, so I don't know if he's really paid too much attention to the condition of his coat, but he'll have to work on that. Can't be a scruffy leopard. Normally you see that with younger leopards as well. They're quite lazy when it comes to grooming themselves, and I suppose the same thing happens as the leopards get older, as they don't pay too much time. You'd think that they would groom themselves, because he does seem to have a whole lot of time on his, or extra time on his hands. Right. We'll see what's happening. I just want to jump on the radio and find out what's the lineup for this leopard sighting. We might have to leave. I'm not too certain just yet. But I'm going to send you across onto Ali's vehicle, and she's still trying to track down the largest cats.
Right, we are trying to find the lions. However, it seems like the latest report that they've got tracks for them crossing onto Arathusa. So it seems like our Nkahuma Pride of Lions has gone all the way down there. And unfortunately, not too much luck in that regard, which is a bit sad, because I was really hoping to see what...
We're going that way.
What are you looking at?
Shadow and the cub.
Alright, Shadow and the cub. But there are so... Yeah, okay, she might cross the road. And she's coming to the road, so I'm not gonna move. Come to Djuma. Come on, girl. Come to Djuma. And she's gonna carry on coming, so guys, let's just be patient. I don't want to go and put any pressure there, because as you can see, there are 2 vehicles there already.
Oh, there she wants to cross.
But... Alright, come. There she is. Yes! Hello, girl. Nice to see you. Ah, this is a welcome surprise and a bonus for our morning, just as we thought the lions. Hello, little one. Awesome. And they're coming. Oh, they're going on the main road now. Alright, I'm going to drive ahead, see if perhaps they come into Djuma. Guys, the power of our minds. Hopefully, come on. I don't want to push them. I want them to come here. Carry on coming. Carry on coming. Yes, the cub is on our side. I'm super excited. Let me call Taxon, because he was looking at them earlier on. Tags for Ali Tax. No, I can't see the cub there. It's beautiful. I think... There we go. Come on, Shadow, carry on coming to us. Taxon, Frally, Taxon. There's a little one going to Mom. Awesome. Yay. He suddenly came across the area where they were in. So I'm hoping she's going to carry on coming because she's still close to the fire break in the main road. Whew. Leopards are going to give me a heart attack one of these days. Hello, girl. Taxon, come back. Yeah, Tax, just an update. If you want to come in close to where you saw me, Shadow and the Mantuan, they've just crossed onto Djuma. They're slowly heading east. East? North? Yeah. North. Sorry, they're slowly heading north. Oh, the radio's not helping me. I'm so happy right now. Where are you going? Wonderful. Calling the cub? Yeah, you little one. It's no time to play on top of termite mounds. Alright. Low range, and up we go into the bush. Awesome. I wonder if perhaps she's taking the cub back to a kill, because she seems quite decisive on where she's going. And there's quite a big elephant ahead of us. Whoopsie. Alright, I'm not going to move just to see which direction they go. There's the elephant, and the leopards are going pretty much straight towards the elephant. Oh my goodness. How brave of you. Little cub curious? You're going the wrong way. You're going towards the elephant. Naughty little cub. Alright, let me move. Jeffrey, you're wondering how old the cub is. Well, we estimate that it's about 5 months old. So it's still very, very young and small and depends on Shadow for survival. I want to try and give them a bit of space just in case this elephant starts chasing them around. No, it seems like the elephant's not particularly bothered, and I don't want to lose sight of Shadow because it's quite thick around here. Okay, there she is in front of us, and I'm sure she's calling the little one. Sorry, Alice, can you repeat the question from Kylie? Who's the cub's father? Not too sure. I would assume Tingana. Oh, there they are, both of them in front of us, just walking down there. Seems like they're circling around this elephant. Whew. Guys, you're going into some very horrible area. Oh, how exciting. It's good to see that Shadow's around here. So we lost the Nkahumas, but we gained a leopard and a cub. I'm not too upset about that. Alright. Oh. Alright, I think we're going to have to think about how we're going to get onto the other side here, Seb. Let's see. The cub is still not moving. Oh, so sweet. Okay, I can roughly see them, but I think it's going to be easier if we go around just because it seems to be less thick around here. So hopefully we'll be able to relocate them on the other side. Oh my god, it is a bit of a thick drainage line around here, so Here's to some bundu bashing. Alright, not too bad here. Oh god. Now, where are you girls? Okay, I see a head roughly moving in this direction. It is very tricky, and the only reason why I'm seeing it is because I'm so close to the ground. But they are slowly moving here, so I think they're going to come through this gap unless they go into that thicket in there. But if they do, then we'll be able to have a look. Okay, I have lost them now. There they come. They're going to come into that little gap. Shadow, you really are a very elusive cat, aren't you? You see, she's very alert, and how amazing was that? She went so close to that elephant, yet she knew exactly where to go and how to avoid it and carried on, and very likely the elephant didn't even know that there were two leopards there. Not that a leopard could do any damage to such a big elephant. But however, it's always interesting to see how close they are to one another, or they can be, just like yesterday with the leopard and the nyala. You see, she was chuffing now, contact calling for the cub to hurry up and come closer to where she is. I can just see the end of her tail, so let's just wait for the little cub to come around here, because I'm sure it's going to come through the same gap. Ah, the cub is underneath those bushes there. There we go. Just the tail, how amazing is that? The little cub has chosen a very tough spot. Right, we are going to carry on moving, trying to go around and negotiate around this very thick bush. As you can see, it's quite a problematic quarry thicket, I want to call it. So let's see if perhaps we can have another view of them. Alright, while we fight these bushes around, let's go over to Tayla and see how her flat cat is doing.
He's actually just stood up. Have a look at that. This is the first time he's moved. What are you going to get? Get it? Whatever he's going for, I'm hoping. So turn the game drive. We don't need it on. So there must be something in there. That's the first time he's moved this entire time that you've been with Ellie and Shadow and her cub, which is quite a nice surprise too. And we've been very, 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 very patient. He's just sitting here. I wonder if he's going to make his move now. He's crouched up. So he obviously needs to go onto the other side of that log. From here I can't see which way the burrow is going through. I didn't even see that burrow last night, and we actually drove all the way around, giving him a wide berth. The grass is so long around there that it could be concealing the entrance. I can sort of see where it goes in. I can only imagine that they maybe go, if they do come out, if there are warthogs in there. It could be many different things. It could be warthogs. It could be an aardvark. It could be... I think I just heard something. I heard something move in the grass, sort of like if you've ever been walking in the sand and you stop very quickly to turn, you know, that sort of shuffling, or that, I don't know what word to use to describe the movement in the sand, but I thought I heard that, and warthogs will do that if it is a warthog, is that they'll come out to the edge of their burrow and they'll stick their heads out and often look around, and then sometimes they dart back in again, and they'll do this a couple of times before they feel like they're ready to come out. I can hear movement in there. So I'm just going to sit quietly just for a little bit. The reason why I am going to whisper, why I'm going to talk softly, is that if maybe it is a warthog that is trying to come out of the burrow, like I said, they can be quite skittish. I don't want it to react to the sound of my voice either. So we might end up just doing a little bit of observing and wait and see as to what actually happens. But if you have just joined us, welcome. We are watching leopards this morning. We seem to have an array of spotted cats, and this is Mvula, just to recap, because I know not everybody is super dedicated, or perhaps you have prior arrangements and you aren't able to watch a show from the beginning. But we think that Mvula is watching something in a burrow that's just inside this termite mound. He's been sitting here since last night. He's now shuffled places. The only thing though with something like this is that you can sit for hours and hours and hours and not know when he's going to make his move. It can happen within the blink of an eye. I really hope for his sake that he does catch something, because he's put in a lot of work. He must definitely be feeling slightly hungry. Now Kylie, you're wondering if they ever get a cramp when they tense up like this, waiting to pounce. Maybe, but I think their muscles get used to it. I'm sure initially you'll find maybe with a young leopard that's still trying to strengthen up their muscles, yeah, probably wouldn't be able to be patient, not because it doesn't want to sit and wait, but maybe it can't hold that position for too long. It takes a bit of time to strengthen up muscles like that. But I think in his age, I think he's probably used to sitting like this and waiting very, very, very patiently. He's definitely staring at something. It's amazing the skill that these leopards have. I mean, it's just honestly unbelievable how they're able to sit like this, so still, waiting and waiting. Now Mr. P, all the way from Canada, wondering how often do leopards eat warthogs? It depends when they can catch them, I suppose. There's no sort of required daily allowance for warthogs, nothing like that at all. So we see Tingana likes to eat warthogs. He's actually caught a couple of warthogs now. Well, a number of different occasions. And Mvula also likes to catch warthogs, and it's nice at this time of the year. Normally we see them snatching the piglets up when they're quite young. Now they've got to the sub-adult point, so they'll be going for them. But again, it's sort of seasonal. They'll start moving into the smaller prey now, like the steenbok, like the duiker, because it is opening up. They become completely exposed. They aren't able to hide away like they do in the green season, on our rainy season, when the grass is really tall and long. So it really does just depend. It's hard to put an exact amount. But warthogs, even though they're not necessarily tall and in size, sort of as tall as an impala, there's a lot of meat on a warthog. You'll be surprised. And if you look at a boar, they can weigh up to 80 kilograms. So what's that, about 180 pounds or so. So it's not a small meal. I mean, warthogs will weigh more than impala, especially the big ones. But it's also a hard meal. I reckon it's probably tougher to catch a warthog. Not that I can actually give an opinion, because I've never caught a warthog or an impala like a leopard or a lion catches them in my entire life. These guys are the experts. But just from the sightings that I've seen more warthogs end up chasing leopards up trees than I've seen an impala ram or just an impala in general, male or female, chasing a leopard away. Remember, they are armed with those massive tusks, so you do have to be very, very careful, and they can end up killing the predator if they get gored with those tusks. Now, Mita, who is 8 years old, you're wondering if I think that he's just been waiting in this spot the entire time because there's something in this mound. Maybe, yeah, maybe he came through here and he heard them moving around last night underneath the burrow, whatever it is, and there could even be something like a porcupine. We actually don't know what is inside here. So, yes, definitely. I mean, if he's been waiting here since nighttime, perhaps it is something like a warthog, because they go into the burrows at night and they come out during the day. But if you have a leopard sitting outside the entrance of your hole, you might end up spending the day in there too. So possibly. But I think he's definitely had a sleep in between. I don't think he's been awake this entire time. Looks like he was walking around here. There's a couple of his tracks up and down on the road too, as well as some hyena tracks. So I'm sure they would have come in and harassed him slightly at some point. And now he's just moved around and still waiting patiently. But because it's such a chilly morning, I mean, like I said, it could take ages for these pigs to eventually want to come out. It's only just starting to warm up, and you can see that there is actually quite a bit of sunlight now on the entrance of that burrow, so that might also entice them to come out. He's very patient, though. It's amazing. I think Ali's got stiff competition when it comes to being the most patient thing in the Sabi sands. I think Mvula might actually take the cake here. But out of the people, I think Ali wins that. Right, and speaking of Miss Patience Pants, she has managed to reposition. She's still with Shadow and her cub. Let's go and find out what they're up to.
We did, and it is quite a thick area, and we're not too far from the boundary, so I am hoping that she's going to carry on steadily in this sort of general direction so that she doesn't cross back out. It will be quite an interesting way where she's done it, and we are puzzled. We are wondering if perhaps she's taking the cub back to a kill. She's been very careful when approaching thickets and always stopping and listening out, but we also know that this general area has been very good for her and the cub, and she seems to enjoy keeping it around here. So we're wondering where she's gonna go next. Little one moving around there. Alright, seems like some more bundu bashing for us, trying to negotiate around this. I see them. No, don't go in that direction. That's the wrong way. Okay, this is gonna be a tough one, Seb. Although, I think that if we push through the pain, it might be easier down here. Can you see them? I've lost them now. I just don't want to cross. Okay, hang on. We need to duck. I can't see them now. No, I don't think this is going to work because that tree over there is bigger than what I thought. So, back to the original position we go. Sorry. Whoa, Wendy, I'm so sorry of everything I'm doing to you today. Sorry guys, Wendy unfortunately doesn't like turning too much, so it's like a 5 million point turn every time. Alright. This is gonna be a tricky one. Very good. Alright. So now I'm going to have to go back. Trying also not to go over protected species of tree. Alright, just watch out there behind you so that it doesn't hit you. Alrighty. We can do this. branches weaving in. Alright. Seems like Tayla's playing the game of patience and we are playing the game of bundu bashing, so let's go over to her so that we can maneuver around this very thick bush we're in.
I wish you the best of luck, Ellie. It's never fun trying to off-road and follow the big cats. It's quite difficult. But yes, we're just sitting here watching a cat every now and then twitch his ears. So we're just going to really just sit here quietly and wait for something to happen. Because that's sometimes what you do have to just do, is just sit and watch. And hopefully our patience will pay off and he'll be able to catch himself a meal. He's tensing up again. Now, Lucy, you're wondering how long can a leopard hold that pounce position for. I've never timed it. I don't think anybody has ever actually timed how long they can do it, and it depends on the situation. I suppose, like I said, their muscles are trained up from years and years of practice. Well, in Mvula's case, years and years of practice. So it just depends, but there's no exact number, I'm afraid. Now my stomach is starting to gurgle as well. Why am I hungry? We had such a lovely dinner last night. I must tell you what Amanda made for us. We had curry. It was nice though. It was a vegetarian curry and it had macadamia nuts and almonds, and it was like something combination between a traditional curry and a Thai green curry. It was really, really nice, especially on a cold evening. It went down well in camp. I don't know why, I just thought felt the need to tell you what I ate last night, and maybe I'm going to make Mvula jealous. And maybe start making him feel a bit hungry, and then he'll speed up this process. He's definitely put a lot of effort into it. But if you do have any questions for us, remember you are welcome to ask them by hashtagging Safari Live on Twitter. And it would be great to hear from you. I am still listening out to just see if there are many other people coming to the site. I mean, it seems as though there's quite a few leopards around today. Vic, you're wondering how long does a leopard wait until it will give up? Again, it's a very difficult question to answer, some of them, just because there's no exact rule. Hunting is all about patience, and Mvula's been sitting here since last night, so that just shows you hours and hours. Hunts don't necessarily happen within 5 to 10 minutes. Sometimes they do, sometimes they happen in even a space of time quicker than that. Otherwise they can go on for hours and hours. It just depends how long his patience is going to hold for, and that will depend on each leopard, I suppose. Like we do with people. Some people are more patient than others. The same thing goes for the various individuals out here too. And Mvula seems to be exceptionally patient. Come on, boy, because you know that will be a good meal if you catch whatever's inside there. But they really are taking their time. They must know that there's a leopard outside here. And that's why they're reluctant to come out. All I can say is that if one does make the move, it will be spectacular. Now, Lynn, a question from you, wondering if the prey could potentially smell Mvula, and that's why it won't come out. Most certainly. You could have heard him walking around here last night. You know, maybe his curiosity got the better of him, and he decided to stick his nose down the hole at one point, and that would have given his presence away. So yes, that's definitely a possibility. I mean, we've given him quite a bit of space. None of us have parked right next to him. We're all quite far away, making sure he's got the best opportunity to try and catch his meal, which is of course the one thing that we do want to do. They have it tough enough out here, let alone the last thing they want to do is have to worry about the vehicles. But he's not bothered. He doesn't care about us. He hasn't even looked across at us once. Just every now and then he's still tucking his legs underneath his bottom, but other than that, still sitting very, very still. He got eager earlier when he tried to go over the tree, but now he's back again. Now, Jason, you're wondering if the leopards' strategies will change as they get older. I'm sure they have to adapt their style. And in Mvula's case, see, I don't know too much about Mvula in his youth, in what he used to do in his younger days. I've only, seen him, and I haven't seen him that often, unfortunately, which is a pity. But I seem to be making up for it now, though, which is quite nice, because you're almost spending entire game drives with him, which I'm sure you are all loving. So most certainly, like I said, he's careful. He doesn't want to risk an injury. We were chatting about this earlier. It's difficult. It'll be more and more difficult for him to bounce back. It's the same thing that happens to us as we get older as humans. When you head in, later on in age and you fall down, you are more susceptible to breaking a bone than if you're in your youthful 20s or your teens. You fall down, you wipe the dust off your knees, and you get up and you keep going again. He's got to make sure that he doesn't, get a tusk to the gut. Otherwise, that could be the end of him. He could end up being too injured to catch anything. And he doesn't want that. He'll want to live his life for as long as he can, injury-free. But very, very patient. And, he could have moved on to other areas. He could have moved to try and find a herd of impala or a steenbokker and deka. There's definitely loads of them around. There's no shortage of food at the moment. Just if you're a lion and you're looking for a buffalo, then you'll have a hard time. But otherwise, there's plenty game around. Lots of kudu calves as well. Lots of little waterbuck calves, and Mvula would quite easily be able to take one of those down. But he seems to be adamant that he wants to get whatever is inside that burrow. Now, Chuck, you're wondering if leopards have any predators. Most certainly, other leopards, lions, hyenas, all these different animals can be a predator to a leopard. Even something like a buffalo could gore a leopard and kill it. An elephant, same thing. So they have to be very, very careful. But of course, they've got that advantage of being able to climb trees really, really well. So when they do feel threatened, if they haven't got a gap to sort of dash through a drainage line and pop out on the other side and completely disappear into the vegetation, then they will just go straight up a tree. But you've got to be careful, because if it's lions chasing you, lions can go up trees too. They can't come down very well, but they most certainly can go up. And if he hasn't chosen the right tree, he could still find himself in a bit of a pickle. There we go, making another move again. No, back down again. Now, Arla, we're wondering if there's a smell of popcorn at this sighting that we're with now. No, not at all. I don't think he's marked here. You normally only get that popcorn smell when they spray their urine up against shrubs. But otherwise, no, there isn't anything. And it didn't look like there were any genets running around here, because they've got a similar scent to their urine. I just want to be able to see what he's looking at. So I keep staring as to where I think the entrance of the burrow is, hoping to see a little snout pop out. But now he's a lot more focused now than what he was when we first arrived. In the beginning, I thought it looked like he was, like I said, taking the odd nap every now and then, a little siesta. So that's where we're staring, is down in there. That must be where the burrow, whatever's living in there is going to come out. There's a couple of more birds starting to call now too. Chitty Chatty Meg, you're wondering if lots of animals live in burrows? Almost certainly. In various types of cavities, so whether it's underneath the ground in a termite mound or in the cavity of a hollowed out tree or one that's been pushed over, they will indeed. So typically in the termite mound you'll see things like wild dogs and hyena, using them as den sites. Even a leopard, if the burrow is big enough, they might actually use them as a den site too. And then of course you'll get things like warthogs, which will utilize them, porcupine, aardwolf, bat-eared foxes might even come and use something like this if there's no other bigger predators in the area that are already occupying them. So there are indeed plenty of things that will live in cavities. And you can go right down to smaller things, such as some birds, lizards, scorpions and things will all be inside, especially if it's in a tree cavity. But I'm not going to hold you here for too much longer. We'll sit with Mvula and see what develops. Ali has managed to make her way through the bushes and she's got another view of Shadow.
Oh my goodness, isn't that the sweetest view of this tiny little one? Now, I want to shut up, see if it calls again. As it's lagging behind Mom. So it's calling just to find out where it's got to go, because Shadow carried on walking. Now, on the plus side, Shadow carried on walking east, which means that she was headed onto the main road, which was a bit scary for us for a second there. Because maybe she was coming onto the main road again and perhaps crossing onto Arathusa. But if they carry on going east like this, maybe we'll be able to enjoy their company for a little while longer. So the cub was now that little sound that you heard, that whack. That's the cub looking for its mom. Okay, so I'm going to go around somehow and see if perhaps we can have a view. We haven't seen Shadow now for a little bit, and there's another thicket up ahead. Come on, Wendy! Come on, Wendy! Alright. Just want to be careful. I don't want to go through too many branches if the cub is here, because clearly I don't want it to feel stressed in any way. I cannot see it now, however. Sabi, can you see them? Just gonna go very slowly and try to find them again. But while we try to find them again, let's see if anything's popped out of the burrow where Mvula is patiently waiting.
Nope, we are still waiting patiently. Nothing has unfortunately come out of the burrow just yet. And he still just keeps moving from side to side. We could sit here for the entire game drive and not see anything. That's definitely a possibility. But we won't really know. We can only really speculate again what's inside that burrow. It's all of a sudden got so cold again. Even, like I said, we're not moving. We've stayed in the same spot. And I'm starting to freeze now. So I wonder how warm Mvula is. Jeff, are you wondering how does the current affect, or the current wind affect their sense of smell? Quite heavily. Obviously, big cats actually prefer to hunt in the windier weather. Not only does it affect the sense of smell, but it helps muffle sound. And that's very important when you are trying to stalk, because you need to be as quiet as possible. And the grass is dry, a lot of the leaves have dropped to the ground. So it's almost like landmines anywhere, landmines of noise. So if he steps in the wrong spot, he could crinkle a leaf, or bits of grass could start crunching as well. And that will give away his presence, because of course his prey species are constantly on alert. So sense of smell, most certainly. For him, he won't mind it too much. It'll help conceal his scent if he's hunting in the right direction. If he's hunting, but the problem actually comes in with the prey species, is that they get quite jittery in weather like this because they aren't able to hear just as well or smell very well, and the scents will often swirl, like especially when in these thickets you tend to get a spiraled wind coming through here, so it changes direction every now and then that also can work against a leopard, because if he thinks that he's downwind of the animals, all of a sudden the wind changes and his scent blows straight towards them. That could of course foil his entire plan and his entire stalk. But I think whatever's in there knows that there's something waiting outside. So it seems as though Ali's doing a very good job at trying to keep up with Shadow and her cub. Let's go and watch her bash about the bushes, and hopefully a spotted cat will appear.
Well, thankfully they have carried on walking into an area that's not that thick, so we're not doing a lot of bundu bashing now. We're just roughly trying to keep up with them in the very long grass. As you can imagine, short leopard, all of them of a yellow color, it gets a bit tricky. Now, I don't know if she turned a bit more eastwards or if she's carried on going north. I'm gonna go around here, see if maybe we can... Oh, there they both are. Nice. Not the ideal spot, I know, but we don't want to get in the way of their movement, so let's just hang on for a little while and see where it is that they go, because Shadow's definitely on a mission today. She is taking that cub somewhere. Like I said, maybe she's just moving in areas while she also keeps an eye out, or perhaps she's leading it to a kill. Well, I think we've been so extremely lucky this morning. I mean, wow. Alright. The cub is naughty. It carries on walking in the wrong direction. Mom goes one way and it goes the other way. Hannah, you're 10 years old from South Africa and you're wondering who gets to name Shadow's cub and when. Well, normally a lot of the rangers in the area prefer not to name the cubs until they go into adulthood, just so that we don't jinx them, type of thing. So there's a bit of superstition attached to it, but it will only be named later on. And in general, there she is on our side. In general, the person that found the cub is the one that gets the honor of naming it. That's how it works in most of the reserves. So it's been so much bundu bashing that I'm actually getting hot now. I'm starting to take off all my layers of clothing. It seems like she's gonna pounce on something. What? She's playing with the cub. Standing by. It's just myself here. You can make your way if you'd like. Big hole. Yeah, just go to Gary Main. Go to Gary Main Triple M Junction. The radio's not helping me. Alright. I don't know how big this hole is, so we might fall into it again. Alright, there we go. Sean for Ali Sean. Sean for Ali Sean. Seems like the radio has decided not to help us. How funny was that? Her like wiggling her tail and then pouncing, playing with her own cub. That was precious. Now, what would be... Oh, there they are in front of us. You can see it's so hard to see the cub, but the grass is just barely keeping it covered. Okay, let's see where they go, see if maybe we get a view of them. Well, I try to direct somebody into this area. Sean for Ali Sean. Alrighty, seems like Sean's radio is not working properly, so I'm sure he'll get a hold of me when he wants to come into this area. Now, ironically, she's roughly headed into the direction of that new road that we've all been talking about. So I wonder how long she's actually been spending around this general area, even before we started finding her, without us really knowing. Okay, I think I'm going to have to do a bit of a loop around here. There's a beautiful termite mound here, guys, and another one there, so choose one. Woo! Sabi, can you see them? Yeah. Okay. In front of me? Yeah. Oh, onto the termite mound! Yes! The cub. Oh, I didn't see the cub. I just saw a shadow. Good. Thanks for letting me know. I could only see the big leopard. And now there she is. And the cub behind it. Getting onto the termite mound. Caged, you're wondering if the cub is male or female. It's a female cub. So that is good news to us, because potentially she'll stick around once she becomes older well, she'll stick around this general vicinity, which we would really like, because we would like to see her grow up and maybe raise cubs of her own one day if she does manage to survive into adulthood. Okay. 2 leopards on a termite mound. Now that is the way to have a morning. And now they're going down. Alright, I'm gonna just stay here. Oh, look, yeah, she's gonna... It seemed like she was gonna pounce on the cub once more. Very beautiful. Some very well-deserved grooming time for the little one. It's walked quite a lot for such a small creature. Oh, wonderful. My cub is getting so big now. Chuck, you're wondering how long will the cub stay with its mother? We're very likely around 1.5 to 2 years. That's a good average for leopards to stay with their cubs. And when she is old enough, then Shadow's going to become less tolerant of her, and she's going to start growling and being a bit more aggressive towards the cub, especially as she's about to have her next litter. And then that would be pretty much her new way into adulthood. But we've still got probably about 1 year or so before that even happens. Alright, let me go again. Precious. We want to be leopards too, so we're gonna go somewhat onto the termite mound. I wonder if Shadow's just doing... So she's being very clever. I think she might be looking for something. Perhaps she's looking for a hunting opportunity, and if she does find it, then she'll let the cub know that it's got to stay put while she goes. Oh my goodness, you are a queen. Look at that. So she's going on top of the termite mound because, like we've seen, the grass is still very long, and she's not a very big leopard, and she needs to go on top of the mound to have a vantage point and look for anything that might be around her. So she's actually being very, very clever. And it seems like the little cub over there might learn a trick or two from its mom. Michael, you're wondering if females with only one cub, if they'll stay with their youngsters more because they don't have any other siblings. Sometimes they can if the cub takes a little while to come into adulthood, but I don't think it's something that will happen all too often. It's pretty much based on every single litter, as the conditions whenever a litter is born are slightly different. But I don't know, I'm thinking of leopards that I've known that have had more than one cub in a litter, and ones that have got only one, and I think the average is roughly the same. You're so cute. Oh, wants to be big like mama, hey? Yeah, you tell them. You're looking at all the possible impala that might be around here. And now I think maybe she's freaking out because she realized mom's gone away. And it's time to keep up. I don't even know if she's moving or if she's still behind the mound. She's so tiny that it's a bit... I think she is still there.
Yeah.
There we go. Looking back. Come on. Time to go. Very patient mother waiting for the little one to come back. And it's funny because they won't always walk in a single file and be like, okay, you follow me straight ahead, but the cub goes around, plays, dashes off for a little bit. Then we saw it a little while ago, Shadow was going this way and the cub saw some birds and then went flying to try and catch the birds and jumping on top of the logs and everything else. So it was quite funny. I think there it goes again. Are Lara Moore, you're saying, what a fun leopard mom. I think so. I think they were having quite a bit of fun, especially when Shadow was even stalking its own cub and pouncing, but gently on it. That was quite priceless. Right, let me go slightly forward now, seeing that these two have moved up the termite mound, so that we can have another view of them. Whoop. Seems like Mvula is playing the major patience game, so let's go over to him and Tayla and see if maybe this time we're gonna get lucky.
Well, Ellie, I think you're feeling a lot more hopeful than I am at the moment. I'm not sure what he's going to do. Like I said, the game drive, we could sit here for the entire 3 hours and game drive could come to an end, and he might still sit for hours and hours waiting. But I don't know, maybe he's going to get a bit sick of it and move off. But for now, he looks like he's staying put. He's not going anywhere. And I haven't seen anything venture closer and closer towards the edge of that burrow either. So still uncertain as to what's actually lurking below the surface of the earth. Could be anything. So keep checking to see if I can't see an ear. Like I said, a snout, but nothing. That's where he's looking, still focused. Doesn't look like there's anything there just yet. You can see there are a lot of footprints around there, just on the outside of that burrow, but I couldn't tell you who they're from. Just because that sand is so thick there. It could be from warthog, it could be from Mvula as he was stepping around the side if he had gone and stuck his head in the hole. But no little ears sticking out of that burrow just yet. I don't normally get hungry on safaris. I don't know if it's because we are watching Mvula and he's potentially going to catch something. We are both starving. And it's a pity that there's no fruit for us to eat. No marulas anymore. Haven't found any jackalberries yet. The guaris are still developing their lovely, delicious berries. I don't know. I can offer you a piece of bark, cat, a piece of grass. Would you like to munch on one of those? So if you do hear some strange noises every now and then, it's probably our stomachs. Snorky maiden, you said that Mvula could have had pizza delivered by now. I quite agree. And it would have been great because I would have split the tab with him as well. The delivery fee would have asked them to bring us out something too. But unfortunately, the delivery service for the cats, well, it's non-existent. Well, maybe no. I suppose it's not, because if you're a hyena and there's enough of you, you could quite easily chase another predator off of their kill. And then I suppose you have dinner served without the hard work. So sometimes, in small doses, there's potentially a delivery service out here. Come on, Mvula. Make your move now. You've all tested our patience now. I think we've proven that we are patient. He's just not ready. Every time I think, yeah, here we go, here he is, he's going to go for it this time. And then he sits back down and he shuffles. Now, it is quite nice that there are many leopard sightings on the property today. Tandi was still about. I don't know if they've lost her. And then, of course, Shadow and Cub and Mvula. So many spotted cats out and about in the Sabi sand today. I'm wondering who else is going to show themselves. I don't know whatever happened to those lions, where they went. Because I did hear them. I heard a male calling quite late, just after... No, it was just before safari, at about 5:45. I heard one out in the distance. Sounded like he was coming from the south, moving north. But all the guys have driven those cut lines, and they haven't said it. I haven't heard anybody say anything about lion tracks. So maybe the Ngumas are still just resting up, taking a break from the show today at some point. See, I'm reluctant to move because I know what's going to happen. As soon as I leave this sighting, he's going to get up and catch something, and I could lose my spot. So I want to hold my spot firmly here. He's twitching again. Sammy Jane, you said that he does seem very confident. I think so. I think he's had a lot of time to think about what his next move is going to be, seeing as though he's been here since last night. He's probably just been plotting away. I just really want to know what's in there. Oh, I'd hate to be the animal that's inside that burrow. Can you imagine the fear that you'd be shivering with fear? Tuki TY, you said it would be funny if there was nothing in the burrow. Oh my goodness, I'd be so disappointed. I don't think he would be sitting here for that long though, if there wasn't anything inside. I'm sure he must have smelt something. He definitely would have heard maybe something moving around. I said earlier that I could hear sounded like sand shuffling, and I don't think it was from Mvula, because the area that he's sitting on seems to be quite compact, so there's not a lot of loose soil around there. But there is, however, a lot of loose sand around the entrance of that burrow and that termite mound. Let's see. Twitching again. No. Just when we start to get excited, he's just shuffling over now. His feet aren't quite tucked underneath his bum at the moment. Still just sitting very patiently. But at least his ears are pricked forward. Because like I said, when we first got here, he didn't really seem too interested. He was listening elsewhere, he was dropping his head, he was falling asleep. Come on, old man. Show us what you're really made of. So now you know, for those of you that have been sitting, watching and being just as patient as we are out here on the safari, you'll see that sometimes going on a game drive is not always glitz and glamorous and high action. Actually, most of the time, safaris are actually quite peaceful. Especially when it does come to the cats and things like that. They don't necessarily always are on the move and, you know, pushing through the bush. Sometimes you just have to find a spot like this and hold tight and sit and wait. So, we're still going to stay here and we'll just see how this all unfolds. As long as there's not too much pressure on the sighting. Like I said, luckily there are a couple of other leopards out and about today, so we might be able to sit here for most of drive, and I'll do my utmost best. And Ali is doing her best at trying to keep up with Shadow and her cub.
Look, it's a very, very francolin. Oh my goodness. Sorry, I got excited with the bird there, but we have our prize on Shadow and the cub. Just because we've had to pretty much come around this termite mound to try and keep up with them. And now we have lost them. Well, we haven't lost them, don't panic. They are here somewhere, I just can't really see where. I imagine in that general direction. Maybe they'll go on top of that big termite mound. I mean, if Shadow wants to have a vantage point, that's probably the Empire State version of a vantage point out here. Alright. Let's see. It's gotten a bit tricky now with the glare of the sun. Can you see her? Yeah. Okay. Alright, let's carry on a bit closer towards the termite mound. And we are indeed getting closer to that new road. I think it must be here somewhere, actually. Alright, girls. Let's just... Whew. Are you going to... Alright, Shadow, we will let you have the right of way as usual as you carry on walking in front of us. Now, I know the glare of the sun is not helping us too much, but doesn't she look just sensational walking in that grass? And she's done quite a big loop around. There was a more straight version of the route that she took, but I wonder if she's doing it on purpose to come in and out. Now, seems like little one has gone onto the termite mound, so let's go and have a look. Oh, you're so beautiful. Please stay there, because this is going to be the best screenshot in the history of screenshots. Oh my god, that is amazing. Oh, this is wonderful. I think this is probably one of my best little cub on termite mound sightings. Are you going to stay there now? Seems like maybe she's tired. She doesn't want to carry on following its mother around. You're so sweet. And it's up nice and warm up there, and you can definitely see where your mom's going. Yep. We have come back down. Time to face the long grass and go find Mom. Yeah, I think you took a break for too long and now you need to catch up. I think it's so funny how it walks like a small cat. It's just like a domestic cat in between all the grass, and I'm sure it's a bit like, oh my goodness, I can't see that properly.